welcome to the 22nd edition of Drive-Thru Review. This is going to be the first in a two-part series on two games that are available for the Decktet system. The Decktet system is basically a unique set of cards that can be used for a variety of games. Um, this first game is sort of in the vein of a Lost Cities. And if you haven't played Lost Cities, it's kind of like a gin or a rummy sort of type of game for two players. In this first video, I'm going to get into a little bit about the basics of the Decktet and how it's put together. There is another review by the folks at the Dice Tower on the Decktet itself, which is probably a little more in depth than I'll go into. But this game's pretty simple. I think it's a good introduction to the Decktet if you're going to pick a game to start with. This isn't a bad one for that. On the next review, I'll talk about another game called Magnate, which is slightly more in depth and it requires some extra components beyond the Decktet itself. Before I get started, I want to thank Nate Straight on Board Game Geek because he took the initiative and sent me the deck here, and as well as a bag of cubes and dice. So that was very much appreciated. Nate actually just printed the Decktet off of a PDF that's available on Board Game Geek, and then sleeve these and put in some regular, 52 deck cards in the backs here to make them a little more sturdy. So this is really available for free. You can play any game with the Decktet itself just by downloading and printing up the PDF and doing whatever you want with it. You could be as cheap with it as you want, or you could even go buy it from the Decktet website along with the book. And then if you have some of the games that require, more cubes and stuff, then pilfer them from another game or grab some dice, or like you can order cubes and stuff from a lot of places. Boards and Bits is one place, a few other places. So let me jump into how Emu Ranchers works, and I'll explain some basics of the Decktet and go from there. So the printout on Board Game Geek has this little sort of 3-card or 3-page summary of the Decktet. So if you pull that down, I want to print these out just to show people and they can read through it real quick to get a basic understanding. That's pretty handy as well. But there's basically 6 types of cards, so to speak, in the Decktet. Now, it's not unlike a regular 52 deck of cards in that it's got 2 through 9 in a variety of suits. But you can see that all of these are dual suited. So you've got these blue waves and brown leaf. So this 4 counts for both of those suits. So like this 9 is a moon and a sun. And you can see this 5 is a moon and a wave. And you can see with the 3 5s here that there are 3 of each number, and each of them, if you add all 3 together here, they're going to represent all 6 suits. There'll never be another 5 that has, the same suit as my 5. So 6 suits and then 3 of each number in these number cards. Here you have your aces, or these typically will count as 1, or they may do something special. So there's 6 of these here, 1 for each suit. And the same can be said of the crowns, which you may think of the kings or a face card or something. So there's 1 of each suit for those. And that is your basic Decktet, is the crowns, the aces, and the number cards. These other pieces here are not always used in every single game, and these other 3 cards won't be used in the game I'm going to show you now. They are used in some variants that you can do to sort of enhance the gameplay of the basic game of Emu Ranchers, but I'll just show you what they are now. So these are the pawns, and you can see these have 3 of each suit. So there's 4 of these, and there's 3 of each suit. This is the courts, and it's similar to the pawns, and it's got 3 of each suit. And instead of just a pawn, it's got 2 little men there. And the last one here is the excuse. And this is often used as a wild card, sort of like a joker or something. And as you can see, I just got a comment here real quick, is the art on these cards is really awesome. Very illustrative, very detailed. And the art is different on every single card. And the cards are also uniquely named. Like that one's called the Sailor. This is called the Pact. And so I have not played with this, but a lot of these can be used in sort of a storytelling types of games. So there's a lot of variety here for what you can do with this. And honestly, I have not fully explored it. I've only played these 2 games, but it's been enough for me to sit down and definitely want to do a couple reviews on them. So let's break into how Emu Ranchers works. Okay, so in Emu Ranchers, each player is going to get a hand of 6 cards. And remember, this is just a 2-player only game. And there'll be a draw pile. So what a player can do on their turn is they can do one of 3 things. They can play a card in front of them to start a new stack of cards. Or they can play a card in front of them to continue a stack of cards that they may already have. Or they can discard a card to the discard pile. And then once they've done one of those 3 things, then they draw a card. Simple as that. But there's some rules for placing the cards in front of you. So let's take a look at these 2 cards here. Now you can see that I played a 4 that has a green and a yellow suit on them. And this is a worm and a knot. But I'm just going to refer to them as colors because it's just easier for me. And then it has an 8 of a worm or a knot. Now this is legal because what happens is you're going to be playing cards in either ascending or descending order. And the cards must match and all contain one common suit. So I could not play, for example, this 6 because first of all, it breaks the order. It goes 4, 8, 6. I would have had to instead have played the 6 first and then the 8. Now that I've played the 4, the 6, and the 8, the common suit is the green worm here. I could not come in here with my 9 that has a brown and a yellow and play that. Even though it's ascending and it has the yellow in common, it doesn't have anything in common with the other cards. So there's only one suit that can be in common to all of the cards. And when you play your first card, you don't have to decide right then which suit you're going to use. At this point, even though I've got one card here, I could use a green or a yellow suit. So what you're going to be trying to do with these stacks is to get more than 18 points. So you can see here I've got 18 points. And if you played Lost Cities, this next scoring mechanism is going to be real familiar to you. Let's say this was the only stack I had at the end of the round. And I'm going to add up the cards. Okay, 4, 6, that's 10, plus 8 is 18. So I've made 18 points. If I had made less than 18 points with this stack, then I'm going to lose points for that round and for this stack. So if this had only been 12 points, I would start off with minus 6 points. And you're going to play, the rules recommend 4 rounds, and then you just kind of keep tally on your points. And then whoever has the most points at the end of 4 rounds wins. But here I've made 18 points. That's all well and good. But what you have to do, once you end the round, is you've now got to pay for your 18 points. Well, I basically have to basically get rid of these cards or just move them to the side and say, okay, I've got my 18 points paid for. How many do I have left over? Okay, none. So that's 0 points. Now what if I had had here a 9 instead? So that's 19. Well, I would still lose all the cards because you don't get to like make change or anything like that. You've still got to use every card that you possibly can to achieve the 18 points and then get rid of them. So I'm still going to get 0 points for this. But let's say I did really well and I had the 4, the 6, the 8, and the 9 there. Okay, that's great. So what I'm going to do here is we got 10, 18, so I'm going to pay for that, and the 9 is now left. So I now scored 9 points for this stack. So everybody's going to add up how many points they are in each stack that they may have in front of them, and then pay for the 18 points by removing the cards, and then see how much they have left over. And then, like I said, you can play a couple more rounds. Now let's go over how the ace here and the crown will score. These don't actually count for points when you're adding up your column. So let's lay this out like this. So let's say the first card you played was this ace. The ace is considered the lowest card. It's not considered a 1, okay? The crown is not considered a 10 either, but it is considered the highest card. So I could have started my stack like this. I played the ace first, then I did the 4, the 6, and the 8. And then maybe I ended it with the crown. I didn't have the 9. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to pay my 18 points. I'm going to be left over with this ace and this crown. Well, these are 5 bonus points. So I scored basically 10 points for that stack. if I'd had the 9 in there, I would score 10 plus 9, so 19 points for that stack. However, let's say I had it this way. So for some reason I got hosed up. Maybe my opponent was holding the cards that I needed, and I had the ace, the 4, and the 6, and that was it. Well, right away I've already got minus 8 points because I never achieved the 18. I've got 10 points here, so 18 minus 10 is 8. But I had an ace in here. Now these actually are negative 5. So you want to be careful about using these along with the crowns, because if you don't achieve the 18 points, then these are going to count against you and be negative 5. So it's similar to the cards with the asterisk and Lost Cities. But the thing about this is you don't have to just go ascending. You can do descending. So I could have started the pile like this with the crown as the high card, come in with the 8, the 6, and the 4. And that adds a nice little extra element to the game. So that's basically the gist of it. You know, it's like Lost Cities. It takes you probably a play or two to get you, if you played a bunch of Lost Cities, which I have, it'll take you a play or two to kind of wrap your head around the symbols and the fact that you can only have one symbol between all the cards. You can't, you know, come in and play a sun here even though it's following a sun. So pretty simple. It's also pretty fun, and you know, it is a little bit of a brain burner because there's not a lot of cards in this deck. There's only 36 cards in the basic deck, and each of you starts off with 6 cards. So that's 24 turns, basically, 12 turns apiece, give or take, because after you place a card, you can draw a card from the top here, or you can draw one of the top face-up card from the draw pile. So it's going to be, you know, 20 turns or so. So it goes quick. So the first couple times you're going to play, like, well, that was over quick, and I built up these stacks for no reason. But it's pretty fun. I think I may even like it better than Lost Cities, but, you know, it's just different. And I think if you're a fan of Lost Cities, you're going to like this.